Here we go. Back in bold. Dienst dobre. I miss saying that. All I say now is bom GI, boy GI. I'm still trying to get my Portuguese down because I'm back in Brazil. But today, special little episode with Vigo's dad, a YouTuber that has a lot of great content on Poland, a place that I hold deeply to my heart. I actually found your channel like at the end of my stay in Poland. I'm like, damn, I wish I had this when I first came to the country. A ton of great content. You're very charismatic. I love that. But today I really want to hit on, and maybe it's a little clickbait, but why Poland is the best country in Europe. In my humble opinion, I still, okay, for background, I've lived in Denmark. I lived 2 years in Italy. I lived in Poland. I've been all throughout Spain, France, the Baltics, the Balkans. I've been all over Europe, Scandinavia. And if there's a place that I could recommend to anyone, especially an American man, it would be Poland. I love the cost of living. I love the safety, the sense of community. Of course, the women, to me, are the greatest balance between the East and the West. And to me, it's a country that is still underrated. It's on the rise, no question about it. But I really want to hype up Poland today. Vigo, let's get a little background here. What's your connection to Poland?
Well, first of all, thank you, Nick. It's an honor to be invited to your podcast. Well, you said a bunch of things there that I will agree with you for sure. So my connection to Poland is basically because my wife is Polish and I have a son who's half Polish, half Dominican. I'm from the Dominican Republic. So, my wife and I have been married for 10 years, but we've been dating we were dating a year before that. So it's 11 years in the Polish reality, traveling to Poland so often. We've lived all over the place, similar to you. Recently, a year ago, we officially moved to Poland. So we are in Warsaw. Right now, I'm not there. I'm in South Africa because I work, so I commute back and forth. But yeah, that's our base.
Well, 10 years with the Polish woman, I'm sure you got your culture, the Polish culture put inside of you. Let's talk about this then. So what is something that has drawn you, obviously, to your wife? What has drawn you to Polish culture? What are the pros? And we'll get into the cons later on. But at the start, let's make all the Polish people watching this very happy. What draws you to Poland and the Polish way of life?
Well, it's a lot of things, to be honest. I mean, first of all, I didn't know too much about Poland before I went to Poland for the first time. Just your basic history stuff. But being from Latin America, it's not. We don't spend a lot of time learning that part of history. So basically, in the year 2004, I was in Spain. I was living in Madrid, and I was finishing a master's degree. And literally 3 days before I was about to go back home, I met these two Polish girls in the center of Madrid. They were running away from some guy. In my head, I thought that they were escaping this guy. Turns out to be that he was selling them some CDs. This was back in the day when you would buy CDs and pirated CDs. So I just approached them, trying to save them from this guy, and they turned out to be Polish, very friendly, very and somehow we kind of agreed to meet the next day, and we did. We went partying, we went to the club, but I had to leave, right? So nothing happened. I exchanged numbers with who today is my wife, and through the years, exactly 7 years, we were just occasional buddies, occasional email. Later, Facebook came out in 2006, and we became kind of friends on Facebook. And it was just this person that I would see every so often, beautiful enough for me to be like, man, I don't talk to this girl often, but I want to keep her as a friend because she's nice to look at. I'm just being honest, is the reality. But she was very funny and very intelligent. And it happened to be that in 2011, I broke up with a girlfriend that I had. She was also, free. And we started chatting online. I was back in Dominican Republic already, chatting online. I'd made a decision to just go to Poland. And I said, listen, I'm going to buy a ticket. I'm going to go visit you. And she's like, okay, I like that. So I went there March 2012. and it was just like boom. Like it was from the very beginning. I had a very big connection to Poland, and I cannot explain it. I spent a whole month there, and I cannot explain it. But and this was 2012. Like Poland is quite different now. Even she says that she lived 10 years away from her home, and she says, wow, Poland's such a different place now. But to me, even back then, you could see the progress looming.
It's funny you say you met her in Spain. Polish girls love to go to Spain. I've met some lovely ladies down there on a holiday. Same with Italy, but yeah. So tell me about that. So Warsaw, I mean, then versus now, is it a completely different city? That's where you were staying for a month, right?
She was living in Warsaw. So when I visited her, it was Warsaw. We went to Krakow, or Krakow in English. We visited a couple other cities, but also we went to Łódź, which is closer to where she's from. And again, Poland has this particularity that they as most European countries, as you probably have noticed, they are very attached to the roots and to their history. But at the same time, because of things that they went through historically, communism, oppression by invaders, etc., they have managed to merge a little bit of this feeling of not forgetting who they are and their past, but at the same time, let's move forward. You know what I mean? Let's move forward. Let's progress. Let's get. Warsaw was destroyed, practically 90+%. So that, I think, started a revolution. Once they got out from the influence of communism, it just exploded. I talk to my father-in-law all the time, and he explains to me those years were like Poland was making strides, like exponentially growing month by month. So.
Yeah, the pride of the Polish people is unreal for sure, and that's something I really respected when I visited my first time. I think 3 years ago, I went to Warsaw and Krakow only, and I could just feel like they really had a sense of pride. And I actually got this ring. It's Polish amber, right? And to me, it represents.
I have my Polish hammer here too.
It represents the resilience to me of the Polish people, their culture, how they've been invaded so many times, they've been wiped off the map, but they've stayed strong, they've kept it together, and now they're a pretty prosperous Eastern Central European country that's on the scene. But I think I like your point about how, yes, they keep their roots, they keep their traditions, but just how they view America and how they look up to America to like modernize, to create, a better economy, etc. I think they're starting to take too many bad influences from the USA. That's another point. But I agree with you. They do a beautiful job of keeping tradition, but also saying, hey, let's improve as a society. Let's make this thing go better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we live in a globalized world. So social media, Instagram, like, yeah, of course, sometimes you see it with people looking a little bit similar, in how they do their makeup, or how, what type of brands some of the dudes buy or whatever. But, and it's funny that you say the comment that you made about them having a little bit too many influences, maybe that are not the right one. Because I have a good friend that he's an American, married to a Polish woman also, and he says the same thing. He says, like, I see the progress, I see how everything, but I also see some of the bad things that are kind of like starting to creep up. But it's normal. It's normal. It's globalization. We live in a different world these days. Some brand, something becomes viral, and you have it all over the world immediately. So the influence is there. But I think Polish people, I'm a very big fan of the younger Polish generation. I think this phrase has been said in my channel so many times at this point, I'm repetitive. But the younger Polish generation, because the older Polish generation is very, very specific type of people, right? Like, they are, like, them. They are, first of all, they are friendly, but they are not so open. At the beginning, they need to see that you don't have an angle. They are stubborn. They are very stubborn. And they are somewhat close, right, to change, to try new things. But the younger Polish generation, and I'm talking anyone in Poland, let's say, that is 30, 35 years younger, right? You could even say 40, but between 30 and 45 years old, the people that today have between 35 and 45, they are still raised a little bit under the older, model. So some things still creep up here and there that you go like, oh, I recognize this from your parents or whatever. But because of my channel and my social media, I interact with a lot of people. Like I am very honored and happy that I get a lot of messages. People write to me and they, hey, do this and this, whatever. And so I talk to a lot of them that are young, and their mindset is very different. It's very, very, very different. A lot more open, a lot more willing to try different things. But they are also very proud to be Polish. They're very proud to be Polish. And I see and I hear even less of that. Polish people, especially the old ones, are a little bit more like, Poland is our country. We'll defend it to the death, but we're also going to knock it down and we're going to attack it. We're going to say Poland sucks. Why you want to come here? Whatever. You know what I mean?
But the foreigner, you better not talk crap about Poland. They'll go after you. They can talk crap about Poland.
No, exactly. Mind your business. But the younger generation, not like that. I think they appreciate more what Poland is becoming. It's just my observation.
I have a lot of close relationships, obviously, from my time there, and a lovely Polish
How long
princess.
were you there? Sorry.
Probably 7-8 months last year, from February and then till about August, and then off and on. I came back 3 different times, so I missed it. But I was hanging out with some Russians in Cambodia, and oh my God, the Polish people that I was friends with were like, "Don't come back. What are you doing? Why would you ever do that?" I said, "Okay, hold on a second. You know me. I love exploring new cultures. I like meeting new people. I'm not going to just bash someone because of where they're from or what situation is going on. But it's just funny. Like their hatred for Russians in Russia is something I've never experienced anywhere else in the world. I mean, it is so deeply ingrained in them. It's truly a fascinating. I understand. Like, look, if I was underneath the Iron Curtain or underneath the thumb of all those different people, like I would have a lot of issues, especially what those soldiers did to the woman and whatnot. I mean, it's a touchy subject, no question about that. But hold on, I need to make some points on the American aspect of it. So I was staying in the Far East, Białystok. I can never pronounce it. And what I loved so much about it was the tradition, was the conservativeness, the clean streets, the no crime, the feeling of community, people going to church again. I mean, obviously, I'm a free spirit. Like I don't like being told what to do, but I love living in these kind of societies that are nice and traditional, right? And here's what I worry about is the American influence. Like, for example, I wanted to go to disco polo. I wanted to experience the local music, and the girls I was with, no, let's go to Rococo and listen to hip hop and do all this. And I'm just like, no. If I want to do that, I go back to the United States. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. It's a blessing and a curse, though, because, especially in the Far East, an American, what are you doing here? Oh, my God. Tell us about your country. Is it really like the movies? Like you have a mini celebrity status, right? And I love how Poland loves Americans, but there's a lot of parts about American culture that I got away from. You know what I mean? And I worry that they're taking a lot of those and not necessarily focusing on, I think, the best parts about American culture. But to his or her own on that aspect, I worry that the young people are getting way too influenced, by the West. There's good pros about the West, but also like shit. There's a reason I love your country. I love being here is because of what you already built and what your grandparents, how they lived and et cetera.
Yeah, but you see, for example, I have an observation on that regard. So the thing is that I think that Poland and Polish people do look up to a lot of things in America because the same as we did in Dominican Republic. America was this place, is still this place that gave us a lot of what it gave us so much for in our pop culture. So music, movies, so industry, Hollywood, music industry, and America also had that like celebrity status among countries. So when you are from a country that obviously you are still developing, you're not where America is, especially America. In my opinion, and by the way, I love America, like in the sense that I always thought I was going to end up living there at some point. Most of my family is on that side, and it's just that I guess destiny made me become a European. But I think America peaked in the 90s, you know? And what do I mean with peaked in the 90s? That, of course, everything that became what America is started back, when Europe was being destroyed in the war, America was moving forward and it became this big empire. So I think Polish people, although many things about America they do appreciate, it's a very slippery slope. Like you have to be very careful because the last things you want to tell a Pole is that you guys love America and America, America and Americans are a celebrity in your eyes, because very funnily enough, they will not agree with that. They actually think that the right Americans, worldly guy like yourself, that understands culture, that understands other people have different ways of thinking. They respect that, and they will embrace you, and they will go like, yeah, like a guy like Nick is great. He understands, he appreciates our history. But the stereotypical American, which is the person that usually never leaves America, thinks America is, America, and we are the best country in the world, and the guns, and that is stereotype, which again, you might say is a stereotype. They really run away from that, So that's why I say that it's a little bit of a slippery slope in that regard. But it's not a lie. If you're an American person and you go to Poland, you are going to find that people gravitate towards you and they want to ask you, where are you from? Why did you come here? Oh, wow. You know what I mean? Like there's a real curiosity behind it. At least I've noticed.
100%. I got some of those questions. Let's kind of knock them out one by one. So, in your opinion, why is Poland so clean, safe? I put in like parentheses, civilized. So my normal stereotype, at least before I visited Poland, especially from the Danes in Denmark, Polish people clean the toilets. Polish people come here, they steal. Polish people are bad. They're thugs. They're drunks, right? And obviously, when I went there, even my first time in Warsaw and Krakow, I liked it. I'm like, okay, this doesn't feel dangerous. I'm not worried. But of course, last year after visiting tons of different places, my perception of what I learned from the Danes is totally flipped on its head. To me, I honestly believe this. I've been to lots of different places. Being a white straight male, this is the safest place in the world. That's how I felt. I've been all over.
Yeah.
And what do you think it is that makes the Poland, like this?
Well, first of all, I will applaud your ability to be aware of some of the benefits that we have. We have just, they're just intrinsic, right? That you didn't choose them, right? You're straight, that's your sexuality. You are white, you don't choose those things. But a lot of people don't know. A lot of people think that those are rights or whatever, and they're not. This is just who you are. And it does make a difference depending in where do you go, who you're going to deal with. It's quite well known that in Poland, for example, LGBTQ plus don't have the same privileges, and they have a harder time than people that are straight. It's rooted on many things, but it's a reality. I think it's said to be one of the least friendly countries towards LGBTQ plus community. But why is it clean? Why is it safe? Well, first of all, Polish people are really clean. Like they are really clean, and I think it's just education. Great grandparents taught grandparents, grandparents taught parents, and parents taught children. So to them, it's part of their identity. If when we receive a visitor in my house, first thing my wife is doing is making sure the house is clean, that the house is tidy, that because it's respect. So that's the first thing, and it extends to everything, to how they live, to how they want their cities. Now, there are some things that are not necessarily positive. For example, from communism, there was this idea that communism made people feel that nothing is ours, and at the same time, like nothing is mine, nothing belongs to me, nothing belongs to anyone, because it's state owned. So sometimes you get some people, or I guess people, that, for example, go to the parks and their dogs go and they do their thing in the grass and they don't pick up because they think that the park is the city. This is not my park, So there's still some of that. It's not perfect. especially when you go to places like you say, like Denmark or to Sweden. Like the civil awareness, I guess, is very high in those countries, and it's all because of education. But just like you said about Denmark, I had similar experience, or I heard similar things when I was living in London. Living in London 6 years, the Polish people are the ones that come there. The cleaners are the ones that listen. This is just simple mathematics, if you want to call it that. It's as simple as that. Same thing was being said in Poland about people that come from Romania, for example. It's just people that are in need, they emigrate towards finding a better life. So they land in a country that is doing better financially. Therefore, they're willing to do whatever it takes, right? And usually when you have a society that is working pretty well, especially economic wise, those low paying jobs, foreigners take. So in the UK, it's actually very funny because I lived through the whole period of Brexit and the post-pandemic issue. And at the beginning, it was like, yeah, foreigners, they should leave, all these Polish people. There are more than 1 million. I think it's like 1.5 million Polish people in the UK. And they should leave. They're stealing our jobs. And now there's a very big crisis, like serious crisis, because no one is there to do the jobs that the Polish people are doing. So I just think that that's what it is. And it's a stereotype. It's basically a stereotype. Doesn't mean that it happens. It does happen. A lot of Polish people have been there, go there, they do construction. But it's a stereotype that has been just reverberated, in my opinion. Made worse than it is.
But here's what doesn't make sense to me. So Białystok, the capital of Podlasia, right? 250, 300,000 people. I mean, a decently sized city. I felt safer there than in Lillehammer, the little amazing Norwegian village. Many different places in Sweden, for sure. Copenhagen. Why? Why is it about Poland? I was starting to think, okay, maybe it is the church influence, but then I was like, okay, damn, Latin America has just as big of a church influence, and it's a freaking war zone in many different places. Luckily, if you stay out, let me reframe that for Latin America, because I love Latin America. I'm here right now. I'm in Brazil. It's one of my favorite countries. If you're not stupid, you're going to be fine, and it's usually in certain areas, but still, you have to be on edge, right? But in Białystok, I'm telling you, I've never felt safer. And I want to get down to it. Now, here's where the controversial stuff starts coming in about, okay, Polish and immigration, Polish and LGBTQ and all that is their traditional roots. They've pushed a lot of this stuff out or are against it. And look, I'm a foreigner, so I should be like, whoa, no, don't be against it. But it doesn't, I'm trying to explain why, or someone explained to me why it was this perfect, I felt, in Białystok. And these people are not making much money, right? I mean, $1,000, $1,500 a month, but it was like society was just beautiful. The 6-year-old is on the bus, and I know this happens in different parts of, very developed places where the child can go. But, previously I would think a country that is this developing couldn't be this safe. I thought it was impossible, but Poland, it is.
Yeah, but it's because precisely that is the hidden gem that Poland has been. I think it's been discovered. Like I've been making content in some shape or form related to Poland for 2 years, even though I've been visiting for more than 10 years. And even in these 2 years, as a YouTuber that does content like that, sometimes also I've seen the growth in other YouTubers and interest in other YouTubers to go and explore and see, right? So we are in the middle of a very special moment in Polish history, I believe, which is that the country is literally in its fusion state. Like when you have internal fusion and starting to really blow up. And I say it sometimes. I my friends are like, crazy. And I always say, listen, 10 years, 15 years sounds like a lot of time. It's not really. Poland is going to be the place everyone will want to go in Europe. Now, it's a big statement. Of course, I'm going to leave a big measure of a chance that I might be wrong. But it's because it has all those things that you say. It's safe. The crime in Poland there's very little crime, extremely little crime in Poland. And the type of crime that it is it's like, again, maybe you get beat up leaving the club because some dudes are a little bit, some Polish dudes are a little rough. But in general, maybe if you're dumb, they can beat you up, and no one's going to stop you. No one's going to kill you with a gun. And I think that makes a big difference. you made a point. I'm not gonna, about the immigration. Like you said, I'm an immigrant too, and I've lived in place. I've lived in London. Is the cradle of immigrants in Europe. And listen, man, the reality is that I don't think that the immigrants are the ones that are, to blame. It's how the society deals with immigration that I think. If you are opening the doors for everyone to come, like in the UK, what happened was that, the UK was a very big empire. So now they have so many countries that in order for them to deal historically with what they have dealt with after, their post-empire phase, they have had to kind of like make it somewhat easy for some people to come in, but they haven't really dealt with the infrastructure. They haven't dealt with a system that works when it comes to jobs. I'm hoping that Poland is going to do a better job, but I cannot tell you that it might not happen as Poland grows. It might be one of those things that that a city or a country cannot escape when they become very big. I don't know.
Yeah, and I know Poland's birth rate isn't as worse like Italy and Spain. So I know they're promoting women to have more children there. So obviously you're gonna need immigrants to keep the whole economy thing flowing. But it's on both ends. Okay, the government and the society, if they want to get an influx of immigrants, they need to help out. But also the immigrants need to assimilate. Okay, I saw this in Denmark. In Denmark, when I was seeing it firsthand, what was happening from the refugees from the Middle East and the little ghettos they were going in. And in Denmark, you get everything you ever need, right? You don't have to work. You get paid. You get free healthcare, free this. I mean, literally, a utopia, right? Education, and they didn't fit in. They didn't assimilate. And I'm saying this. I'm like, you guys, like, should she do something about this, or is this a problem? No, you're racist. You're this and that. Finally, the last couple of years, they finally said, okay, this is too much, and they shut down the hammer on them. But the funny part was too about Denmark, and when they started throwing because this is when Trump was in office, they're like, "Oh, you Americans, you're so stupid," and let the immigrants in. I said, "Do you know how hard it was for me to get a visa here and live here and be a part of your services? I wish I could just live here, right, and get all these benefits, but it's not like that. Your immigration system is one of the hardest things in the world to get a part of it because of the utopia you've built over 1,000 years, starting with the Vikings, right?" So yeah, I have a lot of different theories on this whole thing. I definitely see both ends, but to me, what made Poland so special was how many people bought in to the culture and to the way of life, right? And like I said before, I still want to do what I want to do, and luckily they allowed that and they liked me. But that's the kind of place that I would want to raise a family. Białystok, I would raise a family in a heartbeat. I would have no issue, no worry at all about my kid growing up in a beautiful place.
No, yeah, for sure, for sure. You have a point. Assimilation, I think, is the key word, and that's where people, and that's my advice to every foreigner that goes or intends to go to Poland. Polish people, from the get-go, they seem rude, and you can even debate and say that they are rude because they don't cut corners. They tell you things the way they think it. And if they think that you're acting like an ass, sorry for the word, they're gonna say, you're acting like an ass, But once you get over that initial shock, especially for us countries like Latinos, for sure, struggle a lot with that. I'm sure Americans too, because you guys are also very open, very friendly. Even if there's some superficiality to because the Latinos are the same. You think after an afternoon that you're buddies, when in reality you're not a buddy with a Latino. It's a little superficial based on the description of a poll. But once they open up, they let the guard down. If you show them that you're willing to assimilate, you want to learn some of the language, you're interested in the culture, bro, it's like they're really gonna open up to you. They're really friendly. But it's that initial, shock.
Yeah, it's the whole
you have to show that you want to assimilate.
It's the whole Slavic iceberg meme or whatnot. They're cold on the outside, you crack the shell. They're amazing, awesome people, and I like it. I respect what they think about the fake stuff. Like the American, "Hey, how's your day, stranger? Oh, weather's nice. Bye bye." I kind of like realness, and they don't really waste time with the BS. But also, I need to see smiles on the streets. It doesn't mean you're crazy if you're smiling because it's a beautiful day. Come on, I hate. That's one thing. They need to just give a little more, happiness. But it's amazing though, because I love talking to people on the street. So
Yeah.
no one does it in Poland, and when I do it, it's like, what the hell is going on? But they hear the accent, they hear the English, and that's another great part. Poland, I mean, how many people speak English? It's ridiculous. The population is very, very educated.
A lot of people, and way more than you even think, because they are very sometimes self-conscious about their English because of their accent. They have a strong accent, and sometimes they get a little self-conscious. And even people that you think that they don't speak English, or that you think that their English is more or less okay, it's probably a lot better than you think. It's just that they're shy to show it to you. You know what I mean? It's a country of polyglots. The older generation spoke Russian, spoke Polish. Some of them, depending if they come from the western part of the country, speak German, speak Polish. And most of them, especially already from the generation born after, let's say, the mid-50s and 60s, they also had English in school. So it's very common in Poland to stop anyone on the street and they speak at least 2 languages. So, yeah.
This is for all the dudes out here. Okay. Are Polish women the perfect mix of the West and the East? And here's what I mean by it. Okay, the East to me is like traditional. It's always looking nice. It's nurturing. It's like a woman. How would you think like a traditional woman would be? The West to me is more, okay, you're more free, right? But then you're more independent. You're getting jobs. And to me, this is exactly what I see in Poland. I still see the old school type of woman, but a lot of them are starting to make their own money. They're more free. That's a good term to use. You don't have to take them on 4 or 5 dates to have a little fun. My experience in Poland was beautiful. I had amazing, wonderful relationships with Polish people. I love the Far East because obviously, in Warsaw, they're kind of saturated with the foreigner and whatnot. So, the Far East, you're even more special, exotic. And I still have a beautiful, amazing relationship with, I call her my Polish princess. We'll see if she still sticks with me through this Brazilian adventure. But what do you think about the Polish woman? The mix. To me, it's perfect. And I love Slavic women. So that's like my sweet tooth,
Well, yeah, I mean, Polish women to me, they're my favorite. I married one. No, I mean, listen, I try to be careful in the sense that I was raised by a single mom. So ever since I was a little kid, I understood the respect that women have and they should get from us, from guys, which sadly they don't get. There's a lot of this, the bro attitude, dude, the girl, yeah, man, whatever. Not going to say that I didn't do that. Probably I did, for sure did when I was in my early 20s, that mentality. But I've learned that the thing that I respect the most about Polish women is that, first of all, they are family driven. So they put a lot of importance in family. So what they learn from their parents or they learn from their grandparents, they are huge on their relationship with the grandparents. And at the same time, it's not a society that is so prude. Now, it's a very religious society. I think it's the most religious country in Europe. So already by definition, there's going to be a little bit of those, let's call it religion-induced or beliefs-induced prudeness. Maybe let's call it like that. Or I don't want to call it prudeness. Maybe that's negative. I just meant, some things that you learn through religion that you are more maybe prone to adopting because of it. But surprisingly, even though that is true, it's a country that is very religious, I think women they understand that it's their choice. You know what I mean? Like if I met a guy and if I want to go on 1 date or a 2 or a 3rd date, if I want to, have sex with him, it's my choice. I do it because I want to do it. It's not so much thinking, oh, what is my friend's going to say or what is he going to think? They don't care what you're going to think. I'm doing what I want to do. And it's because they have very strong temperament. Polish women are very strong character, like really. They say about Slavic men that they are tough and everything, but it's like Slavic women, they are the really ones that are tough. Trust me. Been married to one for 10 years. So yeah, very, very independent. They're very independent, but like I said, because they're so family oriented, I think that's the sweet spot that you maybe identify,
You said it a little nicer than me. Yeah. You said it very beautiful. My favorite thing is the polarity. Polarity, that's the correct word. the Slavic woman makes you act like a man. That's what they want too. They want you to
Yeah,
be, in your masculine type frame, and they're going to give you this beautiful feminine energy. But they're not pushovers. They'll put their foot down. They are very, very emotionally, I think, strong, like just tough.
yeah,
And to me, it's like that is what I've noticed with the Slavic woman, that they're not afraid of their femininity. They step into it, right? A lot of Western women, in
yeah,
my opinion, want to just be like, no, this is weak. This is femininity. I want to be like masculine or, independent, tough in this. But the toughest
yeah,
woman I have met, the woman that don't put up with no shit, have been the Slavic woman. Because I think that they like realize what kind of you were discussing, maybe it has some church influence. Maybe it has, the history of suffering in those parts of the world and in the Slavic lands. But they're just built different, and it's something that I really respect, and it's something that makes me feel like just very good to be around and very masculine, right? Not over macho, but in a
yeah.
healthy masculine way with them.
Because the thing is that Polish women are not sweet, and people don't know that. People just you look at Slavic women or Polish girl, and then usually they're very physically appealing, very beautiful, and they look like angels. Like for example, Slavic women are some of the most preferred candidates for models, for supermodels because of how they look. And you might think, oh, they're so sweet or whatever, but they're not sweet. They're not sweet. Like you're not gonna get a, hey baby, I love you, whatever from the Polish woman, But she's gonna be dependable. She's gonna be reliable. If you need her, she's gonna be there, And like you said, she's gonna smack some sense into you. The last thing you want, and this is my last thought on this, the last thing you want is to be on the receiving end of a very pissed Polish girl, especially if you did something to her, something, I'm not saying like a fight in a couple, like she discovered that, whatever, you cheated on her or whatever, like you don't want to be on that end. Thankfully, I've never been, but I've heard the stories very nearby, and you don't want that.
I like what you said, not sweet, but the most nurturing woman ever. I remember I came back from Thailand after debauchery, or Cambodia. I came back to Poland, debauchery, and I was sick as a dog when I landed, and didn't care about what I did in the past. Just hugged me, put something on my head, made me food. At night cuddled me, and I was like, holy shit! Like, first of all, do I deserve this? But secondly, just that I've never been nurtured as I have by the Slavic woman, and I think that is beautiful. I'd rather have that deep connection feeling than, oh, how you doing, baby, or just kind of surface level,
Mm. Yeah, they just want honesty. That's what I think they want. If you're not into dating exclusively, just be honest before you even give them a kiss.
100%.
Listen, this is not what I'm after. And believe me, they are independent enough to say, sure, that's not what I want either. Let's go. But the worst is when you are selling the idea that you are unique, you are the best, you are whatever, and then it turns out that you're not. You have 3 more chicks on the side, and then that's good. You're gonna see the rage, deservedly so.
Honesty, for sure, 100%. Okay, I got some other things here. Okay, so what cities in Poland are over expatted / expensive? Where do you recommend to go to get the affordable Polish experience in 2023? Yeah.
Well, okay. So, for example, I've yet to discover a lot of places. So, for example, I've never been to Podlasie, incredibly. I've never been to Białystok, never been to Lublin. But from the places that I've been, of course, I'm going to be a little biased because Warsaw is my hometown, my first place I went to in Poland, and I love it. But I understand it's the capital city, has a lot of foreigners. So let's say we're gonna skip Warsaw. Kraków is also, again, student city. So let's escape Kraków. I will invite people to a city that maybe I wouldn't have invited them 2 years ago, which is Łódź or Lodz.
Great place. Manufacturer is
Yes,
so amazing. I love that.
yes. And then, but for example, Manufaktura, which is literally one of my favorite places in Poland. And it's not because of the shopping, it's just the vibe of the place. And then you have Piotrkowska, of course, and you have off Piotrkowska, and you have a lot of bars. And it's like a hidden gem, it's a hidden gem for foreigners, I guess. Most people know about Łódź because initially it looks all destroyed, but it's a great place to go and have a weekend or a week, and you go party. You go to have some drinks, you eat some great food. But they also have some things that are very unique in the city. And just walking, just literally walking, you take out, put on some comfortable shoes, start walking, and you start encountering these buildings that half of them are destroyed, and then next to it there's one that is fully renovated, and you go, wow, that looks almost like a museum, you know. So I would invite people to Łódź. I think a place that doesn't get a lot of foreigners. I think it gets a lot of people from Poland, but I don't know if it gets a lot of foreigners. And it's Zakopane. It's in the south. It's a mountain town for skiing, but you don't have to go. I've been there in the summer, and it's so peaceful. I guess if it's full of Polish people, maybe it's not so peaceful, but still, for a foreigner, I guess, it's super lovely. So I would invite people to Zakopane. Yeah.
Yeah, I think obviously Warsaw, Gdansk, Krakow are getting a little spendy. I love Gdansk. I had a beautiful time up there. What about, Warsaw? I think it's still somewhat under the radar for the rest of the Europeans. No, I think it's still a little spendy, but that could be a spot.
Warsaw.
Beautiful.
You mean Warsaw?
No, Warsaw, Warsaw.
Wrocław. Wrocław.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wrocław. Yes, of course. Wrocław, Poznan also. I think Poznan is under renovation, the whole old town. So that some locals, I was gonna go there to record an episode, and they told me, please don't come now, man, because the whole city is kind of like in renovation. Now we don't want you to film this one. I'm like, I don't care, but sure, okay, I'll do it when it's nice and pretty. But yeah, Wrocław is an amazing place. I've never been, surprisingly, but I've done so much research because it's one of the places that I'm going to go next to record, and I know people from there. I think there are also a lot of students because I think there's the university there that is also I don't know if it's a Polytechnica or something. I think, but yeah, I've heard amazing things about Wrocław. But hey, you mentioned Gdańsk and Sopot. There's also Gdynia. Listen. Yes, for Polish people, they might be a little costly depending on what they want to do, how long, but they're still somewhat affordable. And if you're a foreigner, let's say you don't have to be rich. You're a student, but you save enough money to go on a nice holiday in the summer. Gdańsk is a great place. Sopot is an amazing place. They have the Molo, which is the pier, and it's last summer we were there on holidays with my son, and we were at the beach, drinking a nice cold beer. The water is cold as heck, but it's still enjoyable, So yeah, Sopot is really cool.
Yeah, Gdansk, I had a great time. I think it's beautiful, beautiful city. Obviously, you can find the party. I had some good food there too. And the beach, it was a naked beach, as in there was no like vendors on the beach, right? But the water is a little dirty from the port, they say sometimes. So you have to be a little careful. Have you heard about that, right?
No, I haven't really been to the beach in Gdańsk. I went to the beach in Gdynia and in Sopot. It's the Baltic, so the sand is darker. So it has that. It looks like if it's dirty. Again, I'm not saying in the case of Gdańsk because it might be because of all the ships and everything. I don't know about that. But the other two, compared to the waters of the Caribbean, where I'm from, obviously they look dark and they're very like. But it's still, again, the experience when you go to those places, it's not about really getting to the water and because it's still going to be rather cold, but it's the vibe. It's the vibe. Poland is under cold and sometimes snow for whatever 6-7 months out of the year, and then that period between May and September, especially June, July, August, it's like everyone is out. The vibe, I don't know if you went there in the summer, but the vibe is just crazy.
Totally different thing. Vibe. It's like all the depression washes away from everyone, and they have the nice like sundresses on. People actually look like they're not depressed walking the streets. I agree, and that's. I want to make a point. The one thing I don't like about Poland, the only negative is the weather. Like that's literally the only negative for me. I cannot stand the weather, and that's the reason. Yeah, I think it's the best country in Europe, but I would still live in Italy over it. But hold on, I got to make a point on it because Gdansk reminded me, and this is the only crime or issue I think there is for a foreigner in Poland. Yeah. Obviously, don't get in a fight with the Polish people or do some like reckless stuff, like say you like Russia or any of that. But I know you don't know this because you're a married man and a good boy. Is strip clubs. Do not go to a Polish strip club because a lot of them are ran by some foreigners. I believe there's some sort of mafia in control of a lot of these, but I got
Really?
drugged in one in Gdansk. Yeah, luckily I was with a Polish girl, so she like took care of me and stopped it all. But I like watching the shows and whatnot, and we were there, and you got to be really careful because it's happening to so many different people. The U.S. military has issued warnings many times because a lot of the soldiers, will go to these strip
Wow.
clubs, but it's dangerous. Like, do not go to a Polish strip club anywhere. So,
So
yeah,
what do? They want to steal from you, or like
yeah.
kidnap you?
So yeah, so they get you to like 10,000. There's people that had like 10, 20,000 on their credit card charges. They just
Um,
upsell you on this, and then they have a camera
yeah,
that shows you putting in there. So if you dispute it to your credit card company, they're like, look at him, he's totally coherent, right? Like he's putting in there.
yeah,
But you just Google this Polish strip clubs, and there's a ton of different stuff. And I did it firsthand. So they give you like a bottle that's already open, right? And I
yeah.
know I got drugged. I was totally out of
Yeah.
it. So just you got to be careful on that aspect. But the weather, yeah, the weather's I just can't do it with Poland. That's the only thing that just gets me.
Yeah, it's not for everyone. Listen, Polish people are the first ones that would just run away from Poland because of the weather. Um, to me, it's not a big deal. I always love the cold. I love rainy, gray days. So, but yeah, after 6 months of that, you are ready for a change. So yeah, for sure, Poland is not known for the weather. And listen, also the experience of, because you've mentioned before something interesting. You said when you're talking about Białystok, you said, "Oh, it looks like a great place for me to raise a family." The experience that you're going to have in a place, it's going to be determined by where are you in life. So, for example, I lived 4 years in Austria, in Vienna. If you look at all the indicators, it's supposedly one of the best cities in Europe to live. People are happy, and and we really didn't like it. Like, we didn't appreciate it. To us, it was boring. It was so old school that it was not even like, oh, we want our things to be classic. No, it was like, dude, no, this get rid of this. It's too old and decrepit. But I was young. I was 30 years old. I was playing music, playing live shows. I wanted to, although I was not looking for girls and I was not in that vibe, it was still that type of vibe, right? I want to go to a club. I want to go to this. And it felt, maybe now that I have a son, Vienna will be an amazing place. So the same I have to say about Poland. If you have a family, you want to raise a family in Poland, the amount of things that are positive about it makes you sometimes kind of like, okay, I'm going to put up, because there's not a perfect place. I'm going to put up with this. It's fine. The weather is shitty. I'll program a couple of holidays here and there to escape it, and it makes sense. But if you are, let's say, how old are you now?
How old do I look? I always ask people because I look kind of
I don't
young,
know,
right?
like 27, more or less, I would say.
Really? Okay, that's what I am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how old? 27. So at your age, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you don't want to be tied to anything. You want a place where if you want to get out in the evening, you don't have to forcibly stay at home because, the weather is shitty. You know what I mean? You want to be able to just go wherever you want. And that's why people foreigners love Spain, Italy, Greece, but it depends where you are in life. And there's not a perfect place. And you said that the only thing you don't like about Poland, believe me, I have more than one. and I
Yeah.
love Poland, but I have more than one that I don't like.
Yeah, I want to hear those in a second. But here's the thing: I grew up in Minnesota. I grew up in the tundra, right? And
Oh, that's cool.
I promised myself probably when I was 19 that I would never do another Minnesota winter, and I won't. I'll stay in the sun. So, yeah, tell me these other things you don't like about Poland. I know you did a whole video on it that went freaking viral.
Yeah, things I don't like about Poland. Yeah, when I make those videos, obviously the intention, there's an intention in how I make them. There's a format. I don't like my videos. I don't like to ramble on the videos. I don't like to make videos that are 25 minutes where I'm including the 50 things I don't like. You know what I mean? So I make sure that but for example, to me, the things that are the hardest to deal with in Poland, stubbornness. I think Polish people are very stubborn, and sometimes it's too much. Sometimes it's very clear that they're doing something or they're saying something just because they are being stubborn, not because like I can see the glimmer in the eye when they have already in their mind they switch and they know that they're wrong, or they know that they lost that argument, but still it's like they're going to continue, and that is something that extrapolates to your conversations with people, but also in the street, how they drive, how they do certain things in the day to day. So stubbornness is something I don't like. there's something I also don't like, and it's a country that, although it's safe, which is because it is really safe when you look at the statistics, it's still permeated with this vibe of violence. What do I mean with violence? They are very, like, they're driving. It's like you're doing 70 on that street that says you cannot do more than 70. There's gonna come someone from behind honking on you and kind of like being verbally aggressive or something because he's just impatient. So there is a little bit of that. If you go to the cashier, if you don't have a change exactly how she wants it, she's gonna react in a way that feels a little violent, like a little like, don't be so angry. So anger, I think the word should not be violence, it's anger. There's like a anger in the atmosphere. So I don't like those two things.
Let me comment on that part, because I think this is fascinating, right? Like kind of similar to the Slavic iceberg thing, where they're tough on the outside, but really awesome on the inside and emotional. So like Poland, it's not the most aesthetically beautiful, especially like with the commie blocks, the old some of those areas. And you have some rundown stuff, especially in Luge, outside that main street. It's like, whoa, where the hell am I? What it's crazy to me is like, yes, they have like this, I think, love for like suffering or hardship, but also, żabka and bidranka. They love saying those cute little words, and like there's so much like cuteness about Polish people, if that's the correct word. But also, it's like they're living in a cold place, commie blocks. It's just kind of like a weird contradiction. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's the thing is that with Poland, naturally, a country that's under communism influence for so many years, and like you said, the commie blocks, and Poland is just literally starting. If you look at a country, right, and if you see how a country develops, and from the moment they become from the moment they get out from underdevelopment all the way to, let's say, becoming somewhat of a leading country, it takes almost a century. And Poland barely started in the early 90s. And I get it, that's 33 years, but still, you know what I mean? Still, it's going to take some more time. If you went to parties, if you went to bars, if you went to cafes, you see that there's a lot of things that are new, renovated, so they are still in that process where they're living between both worlds. But the thing about there's one last thing that I don't like in Poland, and it's precisely the pessimism, the suffering. It's part of who they are. It's their history. But sometimes I feel that if they were a little bit more positive, if they were a little bit just, they would be a little happier. They attach too much to the suffering, like you said.
100%. I live in my own world, so it doesn't necessarily affect me. But I did notice that. It's like, Jesus Christ. Well, walking the street, I need to see, a sense of like, you're happy to be alive sometimes. You know what I mean? Like you talk about the Latina vibe. Like, okay, this is way too intoxicating. Like in Brazil, which is it's tough for me to. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think Poland has an addiction to the suffering, but I mean, shit. The history is rough, right? And I think that is so ingrained in their DNA and psyche that it's hard to kind of get over. But you see glimpses of it. When you get to know these people, when you get to kind of live the Polish life, when you see that beauty, like the beauty of the Polish people, it is truly amazing. I love Slavic people overall. I love when I get like that smile out of them and I see them happy, and it's a rewarding feeling for sure.
Yeah, we're talking about the younger Polish generation. It's going to be interesting because it's not going to take just one generation. I think it will take a couple of generations to see a significant change. But part of the suffering and in this way of living has a lot to do with what you see when you're growing up, right? If you are a kid and all you hear is your parents complaining, you're going to imitate that, and you're going to understand that the way for you to communicate with people, the way for you to connect with people is through your suffering and your struggle, right? Instead of the opposite. Let's connect because we are both happy about something, for example. So the younger generations is significantly happier, at least in how they view and perceive life. So I'm interested to see what is going to happen when they have kids. And when their kids have kids, what is going to happen with Polish personality or temperament, not temperament, but this characteristic of pessimism is going to be interesting. Because if you think of the Americans that were in the 50s and the Americans now, there's a difference. Not necessarily good or bad, just different.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, like, I don't think the Generation Z and the Americans are happy. I mean, with all the social media and the glorification of mental illness and being sad, and obviously the whole lockdown thing. So I don't know. Here's the biggest thing though: is Poland, Polish people. I love your culture. I love your country. I do think, like we said, if you get rid of that little suffering thing, I think it would be better. And if you fix the weather, but I don't want you to lose what you have, because that's what I fell in love with, and that's what I worry about with change and progress or progressiveness and so forth. Like, I hope they just do it incrementally and not make huge freaking jumps, and it's going to lose what made Poland so special to me.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Beautifully said.
Awesome. My man, I appreciate you coming on here. So it's Vigo's Dad. That's your channel. And most of your content, the stuff I've seen is about Poland, but you do some more stuff, right?
Yeah, Vigo's Dad is the name of my son. My son's name is Vigo. So I'm his dad, Vigo's dad. And actually, it was just by chance of life that channel stuck, because I created that channel when my son was born for me to upload videos about my son to our family, in private. And in the pandemic, when the pandemic hit, I stopped playing music and I could not play live, and I was very down. And I remember that was very sad. And my wife said to me, maybe you cannot play live right now, but maybe you can do something else creatively. I was always the guy with the phone full of videos and photos and capturing and recording stuff. And she's like, you like to do that? Maybe create a channel. And that's how I did. And I cover, again, interestingly enough, the topics that I cover the most are related to Poland, because my reality is related to it, because it started in family, right? It was a video channel about my life as a dad, as a husband, but my wife is Polish, my son is half Polish, and I started covering topics about Poland, which, by the way, I'm very interested. I've been making videos about Poland for 2 years, because I truly have a fascination about the country and the people and the culture. But I do things that are basically just multiculturality. Once I am in Poland, definitely, hopefully soon, and I'm no longer commuting, I'll follow your steps. I really want to do a lot of travel vlogging also. So go around Europe and different places. I've never been to Asia. I want to go to Asia. What's your favorite place in Asia that you've been?
Cliche, but I really liked Phuket in Thailand. The
Okay.
beaches.
Yeah,
that was.
yeah.
But Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia, was. I haven't been that shocked about a place in a long time. Like, thinking I was going to go to mud huts and villages, and it was skyscrapers on skyscrapers and luxury. I was like, what the China got their hand in there and invested a ton. But no, my Asia tour, I stayed there for 3-4 months, but I like to chill in places. I was in Siem Reap, capital of Cambodia, Chiang Mai, Phuket, and I definitely will be going back to Asia, but now I'm going to be in Latin America the rest of this year. But hold on, I had a point. What other Polish YouTubers are out there? I think there's that Black America one, the guy that he talks a lot of shit about USA. He talks a lot of good things about Poland. Have you done stuff with him? I think it's
What's his name?
Something America. I thought it was Black America, God, he's big YouTube. He has a ton of Polish videos that have millions of views. Who else do you recommend as a Polish YouTuber?
He's black.
No. White dude. I don't think it's Black America.
Dave Zamericki. Dave has the glasses.
I forgot, but it's something America, the channel, and he does a lot of content.
I think it's Dave Zamericki.
Okay.
Dave from America. He has like big glasses like this. Not having collaborated with him, but for example, you mentioned Phuket, right? I did a video with Marta Szelska. Marta Szelska is living there. She's a Polish YouTuber, and she lives in Phuket. I did an interview with her on my channel. Great YouTuber. She is going all over the Asia and everything alone. So, for example, who else? I mean, I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you a confession. Maybe I shouldn't, but I don't watch too many people that are doing things similar to what I'm doing. And it's not for any negative reason. It's not because I am not interested. It's not because, it's only me. It couldn't be further from the truth. When I make videos about Poland, for example, or about, especially the ones that are about Poland, right? I try to make them from a place of complete unknown. Like, I don't want to have any influence. Like, oh, I saw a video. This guy did a video. He went to Wrocław and he covered this. Oh, well, that's great. I would love to make a video about that too. And then subconsciously, I'm going to take in information that might affect how I am going to produce my video. So I try not to, I try not to. So that's why I'm a little bit like shielded these days.
Gotcha. So if you need content from
things.
Poland, you only go to Vigo's dad's channel. Nobody else is good enough, right?
No, I didn't say that. No,
I'm
there are some
messing with
great.
you.
Like, for
I'm messing
example,
with you.
there are some foreigners. For example, to me, there are people that I see. You know what? There's a guy. The last guy that I saw that made content in Poland that surprised the heck out of me is a guy called Iranchik. His name is Iranchik. He's a guy from Iran, and this guy has. This is said by my wife and my mother-in-law. This guy has the best Polish any foreigner they have heard that has no association to Poland. Like his mom, his parents are not from Poland, whatever. And the fact that he has learned this language, such a complex language, and the pronunciation. And I haven't seen that many videos of him, again, because of what I said to you. But I saw some episodes and I was like, man, that's mad. That's mad. That's crazy. That's great. So people like that, I would love to put a word out there, because it's a foreigner just like me, living in Poland, doing great, assimilating, like we said before, and that's all we want, And I'm gonna say we because I'm a bit, I'm half Polish at this moment. Yeah, so assimilate.
Hey, beautiful. I love connecting people. So if anyone is interested in visiting Poland or moving there, are they able to contact you somewhere?
Oh yeah. I actually surprisingly I get a lot of messages about that, dude. I want a visa, or how should I? Sometimes I'm like my brother, or like I don't work for immigration. I'm so sorry, but yeah, I if there's any way that I can help anyone with an opinion, there are some groups in Facebook, foreigners in Warsaw, foreigners in Poland, that you can find a lot of information, and people are very, very helpful. But yeah, hit me up. I am on Instagram, Vigo's Dad. I'm on, all my socials are just basically whatever the social / Vigo's Dad. Send me a message and I'll for sure answer. I answer everyone.
Beautiful. Cinquia, thanks for the amazing time. I hope the best for you. I hope your time back in Poland will be beautiful, and definitely stay in touch. If I come, I should be coming back. Hopefully, we'll meet up in Warsaw, Piano Bar Warsaw. That's where we're gonna go. That's my spot.
No problem. We'll go there. We'll make some content. Fire up the cameras,
and you're gonna play live music there.
Yeah, hopefully. Now when I go back to Poland, I'll put together a band. I had a band in London, so I'll put together a band, and I'll start playing all over Poland. It's literally one of the things I'm the most excited about. Next to doing more content in Poland.
Fantastic. Hey, have a great day.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you very much.